Good morning, my fellow foreigners. That's me, Robbie from English Harmony, and welcome back to my video blog. In today's video, I'm going to address a particular question asked by a blog reader of mine. And he asks, Robbie, hi, I've been working on my English for years, and recently I came up with a great idea. Nowadays, I'm myself looking for stuff worth memorization. Speeches, anecdotes, short poems, excerpts from novels, and so on and so forth. Because I've got 150% confidence that memorizing and reciting meaningful and interesting material by heart moves your thinking and speaking toward a tremendous pace. And I wholeheartedly agree with you, my friend. And as a matter of fact, the whole English Harmony system is based on this very concept. You memorize stuff, then you repeat it all over and over again in different contexts, in dialogues, and so on and so forth, and eventually it greatly develops your ability to speak fluently. And I couldn't agree with you more. And then the same person goes on to say, I also asked my fluent speaking friends, turns out they use this technique when learning the language. Plus, I remember that every diligent youngster does the same exact thing at school. Maybe that's the key. And Definitely, most definitely, I agree with you 160%, because I keep doing the same thing all over again, memorizing stuff and then using it in my daily conversations, and that's how I personally developed my fluency as well. Whenever I come across an English speech pattern, that's how I call word groups and phrases and sentences, I call them speech patterns, because when you speak, right, your speech follows certain patterns. Sentences resemble each other, and even though the words might be different, you can swap words in other phrases and come up with new ones, but the patterns remain basically the same, right? So the more of such patterns you learn, the more fluent your overall speech becomes, and same goes with memorization in general. Say, if you memorize a poem off by heart, basically you learn it off by heart, all those, say there's 3 verses in the poem, 4 lines each, 3 by 4, that's 12, let's say for simplicity's sake, that's 12 speech patterns you just learn by acquiring all that poem by heart, right? Those speech patterns definitely will come in handy at some stage in the future. For sure, you're not gonna use the entire poem or a single verse when you speak with somebody. But if you memorize all that, it'll kind of embed itself into your brain, and then it'll just manifest itself at a subconscious level, most likely. You won't even think about that particular poem. You're not gonna go back to certain verse and a line and then use it in your speech, but you're just gonna be able to use it without much thinking. And that's how natural fluency happens. That's how the English Harmony system is created, by the way, and that's how I go about my own fluency development on a daily basis. When I read something or I hear something, when there's a new phrase, I just repeat it in my mind. I kind of repeat it once, twice, 3 times, come up with some sample sentences to create context around that phrase, right? And it embeds itself in my brain. Surely, it's not as if each and every single one of such speech patterns is going to stay there at my disposal forever. It's not like that, because your active vocabulary, which is everything you can actually use in your speech, and your passive vocabulary, which is stuff you can recognize but not necessarily use in your speech, they constantly kind of overlap, they blend, stuff gets transferred from one to another. So just because you could say a certain thing a year ago doesn't mean you're gonna be able to use the same thing in your speech for the rest of your life, because if it's something less common, something more obscure, there's a good chance that you're not going to be able to use that particular collocation, which is just a scientific term for a word combination, right? You're not going to be able to use it for the rest of your life if you only ever use it at the moment of memorization and then once or twice, right? Most likely it'll get transferred onto your passive vocabulary. And same goes with a lot of stuff you learn by memorization. Of course, if you learn entire excerpts from novels by heart, you're not going to be able to use it all. But the thing is, even if you can use 10% of all that in your speech at some stage down the line, it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it. And the more you do that, the more little bits and pieces will come out of your mouth without much thinking. And a few years down the line, you will emerge a totally fluent English speaker just like me. And it's all thanks to this whole memorization stuff that we all have to embrace indeed. And I wholeheartedly agree with you, my dear friend, having asked this question. And basically, yep, that's totally valid method. That's what the whole English harmony philosophy basically is based upon, right? You observe and mimic native English speakers, which would be equivalent to reading stuff and memorizing it, because essentially something that's written in English would be pretty much the same as if spoken by native English speakers. So listening to a native English speaker speak and mimicking him and reading something and memorizing it is pretty much the same thing as far as I'm concerned, right? Okay, thanks for watching this video, my friends, and let me please know what are your personal experiences in relation to the whole memorization thing. Have you been doing that, and do you find it successful, or you've had some issues that you'd like me to give you a hand with, maybe give you some advice in relation to a specific aspect of this whole memorization thing? Let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. The preferred method is comment on this video if you watch it on YouTube here, or if you watch it on my blog, there's also a comment section down there. So please publish your questions in the comment section below, and I'm gonna reply to them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, my friends, and see you soon again. Bye-bye.